Hello, sons and daughters of God, divine creations, divine marvels, Son of God. So, in essence, a big part of the course is to be led by Christ, to be guided by Christ. The first couple chapters really point out that Christ is in charge of the atonement and that to ask him what miracles to perform. I was just reading the notes, the shorthand notes, and he points out that, he knows where the miracles will be received and where they won't. So if we can ask him beforehand, it can save us a lot of time and energy. He said people who don't, miracle workers who don't do that, get burnt out. And so I had a really powerful experience today of letting Jesus guide my steps and all the places he took me. So I was just walking down the street, and just at a certain point, I just found myself really surrendering, really trusting Jesus to lead me. And boy, did he lead me. So the first thing that happened is I was just walking along, and I just sort of felt this impression and also heard this voice, sit down on that bench, which I did. And I just had the image that someone was going to come up and talk to me. And so I sat there for a minute, and someone did. This woman came up and asked for directions, and it was so exciting because I actually, I'm in New Zealand right now, not my home country, and I'm in this town I don't know, but I actually knew the street that she was asking directions for. So I was like, wow, what are the odds? So I gave her the directions, and she was really grateful, and I was really grateful, and I was just kind of in awe. I was like, okay, Jesus, what's next? And then I started walking along, and I realized, oh my God, I think I gave her the wrong directions. And so I was like, please, I want to bump into her. Um, I want to be able to apologize. And so from there, I cross the street, and I just keep walking, and I'm just kind of like guided to go and poke my head in this shop. I just kind of meander along, and then next thing you know, on an opposite side of the street, going in the opposite direction in a medium-sized town, I bump into her again, and I say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I think I gave you wrong directions." And it seemed like she was really struggling. I won't go into the specifics of her story, but kind of why she was looking for the street and her phone wasn't working, and she was just having. It just seemed like she was maybe just struggling in maybe her life in general. Um, so we, wa- uh, so I had an idea. I was like, "Oh, there's a bus station, a block from here. I bet there's someone." I was thinking there'd be an employee there who would know. So we started walking and talking, and that's part of where I got the sense of, oh, yeah, this person's really struggling. Um, and so we get there, and there's no employees there, but there was this feeling inside of me like I'm gonna help this person. Like I don't know where that came from, but and so I just said, hey, does anyone here have a smartphone? We're a little lost, and we're looking for this street. And everyone just looked at me like I was crazy. And then this one man goes, what street are you looking for? I'm like, oh, we're looking for blah, blah, blah street. He's like, oh, yeah, it's just down that way, 6 blocks to on the right. And we're like, thank you. And we step outside, and she and I just look at each other, and she's just like, thank you. And I'm just like, thank you. It's such a holy moment. And in hindsight, I just have this hope that what happened between her and I was just a little ray of light in her, in the darkness. That because certainly the interaction was for me. It's not so much I was struggling that wasn't really in darkness, but I, you know, there'd been a little bit of struggle that day. So this interaction and the synchronicity of it was quite uplifting for me, and I assume so for her. And so I'm like, okay, Jesus, what's next? And I'm hungry, and so I'm going and checking out all these restaurants and looking for some place to eat, and nothing, nothing's just grabbing me. And I'm like, well, what do I really want? And earlier that day, and a couple times that day, I'm like, I want a McDonald's milkshake. I'm like, no. I'm a bit of a health nut, which the expression might have some truth in it. And I just kept getting like, not only am I going to get a milkshake, I'm going to have an actual meal at McDonald's. I was actually, then all this fear started to come up as I started to walk to McDonald's. Of like, oh, it's unhealthy. Like, it's going to kill me. These, and I just noticed those thoughts and let them go. And, and then I started to remember how when I was a kid, McDonald's was like heaven. I was so happy when I went to McDonald's. And so there's this joy inside of me of like, I'm going to McDonald's. Like, um, yeah, I just I just was, and there was a lot of fear of like, this is so unhealthy, this is going to hurt me. Da, da, da. And so I just, the best of my ability, offered those over. And so I go in and I'm just like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get my favorite McDonald's food, which, I've had it every now and then, but it was primarily I stopped eating McDonald's, somewhere in my early 20s, probably even before then. Um, so I was like, cheeseburger, milkshake, fries, chicken McNuggets with barbecue sauce. And then, so part of me is excited and a part of me is like, was really scared. And I keep just offering it over. And they didn't have milkshakes, so I got an ice cream cone. And then I sit down and, oh, the cheeseburger was so good. And so was the ice cream cone. And I had a couple of fries, but I wasn't really into the fries. And then this woman who looks like she was maybe homeless, she's pushing a shopping cart. She just walks up next to me and goes, I'm hungry. And I'm like, here. Like, I give her the chicken McNuggets and the French fries. And, she and I talk, and we actually talked a little bit about the course, which was, not in course language, but, she told me a little bit about her life. And once again, I was hoping that this encounter had been a really, it was a bright moment in what sounded like a really hard life. And it was certainly, again, a bright moment for me. And it saved me from my fear of McDonald's. So I head out and I'm like, okay, Jesus, what's next? And so I walk by this another homeless guy who I'd seen. I think I'd seen him at this point. I think it was like the third time I'd seen him, and he was offering poetry for money, and I just didn't have any cash on me, and I really wish I did. And so then I felt guided to go into this pizza store. Pizza, one of my favorites, again, which I almost never eat. And I go in there, and then up on the screen, they like flash mozzarella, this image of mozzarella sticks. And I'm like, oh, like that's like my uber favorite, which I very rarely eat. So I get some mozzarella sticks, and I'm like, what is going on? You know, Again, some thoughts like this eating this way is going to kill me, and just some crazy thoughts, actually, some crazy fear thoughts. And I give them away, and I have one mozzarella stick, and I'm like, this is okay, but I had this idea, like, I'm gonna go give them to that guy who writes poetry. And so I was like, hey man, I don't have any money, but would you like some mozzarella sticks? He was really stoked, and he actually gave me a poem about Jesus. I asked him to write me a poem about God, and he just flipped through, and he gave me one he'd already written. And so he and I had this great conversation about. He taught me something about the New Testament. I thought I knew the New Testament pretty well, but this kid, he really taught me quite a bit about faith in Jesus. It was pretty amazing, and parted company, and I felt uplifted. And sure seemed like he did. And let's see, there were 4 interactions. I mean, there might have been another one I'm forgetting, but it was just like one amazing interact. Oh God, the first one, which I forgot, is I was just walking along, and this something was going on. Like this, there were all these people standing around a car, and one woman was on her hands and knees, like on the street. And I just kind of stopped just to make sure everything was okay. And someone had dropped a cell phone down the down the sewer drain. So I just stood there and kind of, um, offered some support, and just kind of, you know, offered support. Offered to see if I could reach down in there, and just kind of, made a few jokes, and like cheered them when they got the phone. It wasn't anything major, but then afterwards, the woman looked at me and she said, "Thanks for the good vibes." And as I walked away, it was like, wow, she's thanking me. Like that was really a positive experience for me. And so yeah, so I had like 5 magical interactions where I was really, and all these happened right before I was like, okay, Jesus, lead me, take me, do with me what you will. And he took me to McDonald's, amongst other things. And so, it's just an utterly magical afternoon, utterly magical. And, I have the sense that, the Course says miracles are natural. That's what we're here to do, is help each other. And, you know, help help can show up in many different ways. Um, Now I'm just noticing how bright the sun is. I mean, I wonder how clear this video is, but um, so I think I got a taste today of what life is like in the real world, where it's just people going around blessing each other. And and these were some big examples. But in the Course, Jesus talks about two strangers smiling, or someone bumping into another person, and instead of the person getting angry, they both laugh, or just have a positive. We think of miracles as, or before the Course, we think of miracles as like these, and they can be. I mean, they can be explosive. They can be, a physical burden is gone in an instant. An illness, it just vanishes. Or and actually, yeah, the kid who writes poems, he told me about a miracle he saw, about someone who got run over by a car, and this person just came over and prayed for them, and they got up and walked away. So miracles can be dramatic. They can also be really simple. And as I walked away from today, the trap I've fallen in into the past is like, oh, well, magic flow and miracles all day long. Like that's, it's easy to get attached. So, but that just creates suffering too. So, so I think I got a taste today of what it's like to really be led by Christ. And, we all have moments of feeling led, or I hope we do. And then this was like, this was one after another. So it was really powerful. And I hope this inspires people to really ask Christ to direct their steps. Because, the Course is about so many things, but in its essence, it's not so different from Christianity, about this idea of inviting Christ to just be the ruler of our life, not ruler in the human sense of the word, but just the one who guides us moment by moment. And he talks about Christ guidance and Christ control. And today I got a taste of what that's like. So thanks so much for joining in. And I wish you a miracle filled day, whether that be little smiles, little moments with strangers, or little moments of helping or being helped, or moments of healing that completely blow our mind away. The first line of the chorus makes it really clear there is no order of difficulty amongst miracles. They're all just expressions of love. So I wish you many, many, many expressions of love, give and receive.